NFL now from our newsroom in Los Angeles. I'm Andrew Siciliano. This is Tom Pelissero. We got the news yesterday, Tom, of the Keanu News injury in Achilles. He now, again, is out for the year. So the Falcons need some help back there. Who are they looking at?
They brought in a couple of veterans today. One is George Iloka, who's best known from his days with the Bengals, also spent time with the Vikings as well as the Cowboys. Also brought in the former Dolphin, T.J. McDonald. Worked out both of those players. Did not get the sense as of this point that any signing is imminent with either of those players. They also have a couple of defensive backs and safeties on the practice squad who could be candidates to be promoted. Now, Keanu Neal is not the only safety who was injured this past weekend. The Colts also lost Malik Hooker. They brought in safety Marcus Gilchrist for a workout today, too, continuing to look for potential options there as they figure out how they're going to replace a former first-round draft pick.
Meantime, in Minnesota, Tom, where you actually are now, there's a wide receiver injury. You had the Chad Beebe news earlier today. So the Vikings picked up the phone and called an old friend.
An old friend who they're still paying. They owe Laquan Treadwell $1.15 million guaranteed this year as a former first-round draft pick on what would have been the final year of his rookie contract. So Treadwell is back. They are re-signing him to a deal. He now fits in as the fourth player on the active roster at the wide receiver position. Of course, everybody knows Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. They also have Busy Johnson, the young guy who they're excited about. Chad Beebe, though, is a significant player. He was a camp standout. He slotted in as the number 3 receiver as well as their punt returner. I am told that he tore ligaments in his ankle. It's basically a really, really bad sprain. No plans as of now to have surgery. They'll take a look at him in about a week or so and figure out exactly how they want to move forward.
Hope he gets back soon. In the interim, hey, Laquan, we're paying you. Why didn't you?
And he did have a good camp. That was one thing. He ended up being demoted. He was way down the depth chart, but everybody said he actually performed pretty well. It just was a matter of they had some other young guys who were outplaying him through the course of camp. They decided to move on. He doesn't get signed elsewhere. Now he's back, and we'll see what he makes of this opportunity.
And he had some visits, the 2016 first-round pick, now back with the team that selected him. Tom, stay there. Let's get to the Monday night game if we could real quick, because we have not yet shown that highlight. Khalil Mack and the Bears going into Washington to face Case Keenum and the Redskins. I know the Bears haven't necessarily played well offensively, but on paper this kind of looked like a mismatch. And then right out of the gate, well, it was. Before I even sat down at the bar, traffic, it's 7-0. Ha-ha, Clinton Dix, the 37-yard pick six against his former team. How about the little dude? The little dude being Taylor Gabriel, who caught 3 touchdowns in 1 quarter, including this one, which was initially ruled incomplete. Upon further substantial review, he caught it. Bears over the Redskins 31-15, which means Jay Gruden in the other locker room. It is time for Club Dub. This is the silent Club Dub version. We don't license music. It's the silent version. Imagine people screaming and yelling and electricity and excitement. And here's Mitch Trubisky.
We just got to stick to the process, keep believing in what we're doing. We had a couple weeks where we struggled, but we were a little bit better tonight. It was just guys sticking to the plan, coming together, and just doing what we do best. And the O-line did a great job, and playmakers made plays on the outside. So if everyone just continues to stick together and execute our plays and believe and just go out there and make plays, it'll be a fun offense.
I think the most important thing is we have to have some continuity. I can't be changing people every 5 minutes here. So I think I got to give Case an ample opportunity to play with these new guys. This is his first time in this offense, really.
All right, that was Jay Gruden's answer to the question after the game. Now hear this. Why don't you just play Dwayne Haskins? You're 0-3. In all likelihood, this is not a playoff team. Oh, by the way, you get Daniel Jones and the Giants coming up this week. Keenum turned the ball over 5 times. Garafolo, you were there. He does not seem like he is even close to budging.
Jay Gruden, that is? Yeah, no, He's not moving. He made it crystal clear that he doesn't want to. Well, he's not budging toward Dwayne Haskins, but I think we may be looking for the wrong quarterback change If anything, it's going to be a move from Case Keenum to Colt McCoy. And if McCoy had been healthy and he hadn't had continued issues with his leg, I think he might be the starter. This team may have been the starter week 1 coming out of training camp. My understanding is that the plan right now is for McCoy to practice this week. Now, I know that that's been rumored, but I believe that is the plan based on what I'm told. He's got to make it through. He's got to show he can be healthy. He's got to show that he's got no issues with the legs. I think that might be the move to make. As far as Dwayne Haskins goes, they saw in the preseason he's not throwing with enough anticipation at times. The athleticism, the arm strength, all that stuff. There is no question about any of that stuff with Dwayne Haskins. But to play quarterback at this level, you've got to throw into tight windows, and you've got to throw with anticipation. He just hadn't shown that to this point.
Hi, Tom. You were making a face there. I mean,
well, now
take it from the guy that always makes a face.
Here I am. Now I guess it's my turn to talk.
Yeah,
so I was
Colt McCoy
at their minicamp for the Redskins back in June. And when you looked at the difference between Case Keenum operating what was at that point the first-team offense, Dwayne Haskins with the second-team offense, it was very apparent in terms of how much quicker and how much more in rhythm Case Keenum was in terms of operating Jay Gruden's offense. For Dwayne Haskins, when you talk to scouts about him coming out in the draft, they said there were times where it seemed like he had a lot of predetermined throws, that he got away with some things just because his arm was so strong. Of course, the guy put up monster numbers, 15 touchdowns in a single season at Ohio State. But when you're not a particularly mobile quarterback, and he was regarded as being pretty heavy-footed, that takes away something a lot of other young quarterbacks can use to their advantage while they get up to speed with everything else. You would certainly think everything points to Jay Gruden having the opportunity here to make a change. The fact that he is not doing that simply speaks to the fact that it seems like he does not believe Haskins is ready to go onto the field. At least with Case Keenum, you have a veteran. He's been there. He's known within the league as a gamer, somebody who, when he's in the huddle, you believe you have a chance. You just hope he doesn't give away the ball like he did last night.
To defend Case Keenum, he did have decent numbers the first 2 weeks coming into last night's game. And the Redskins' offensive line, banged up again last night, is a sieve and still doesn't have Trent Williams. Charlie, show me the tape. What do you see from Case Keenum? Because it looks like he's going to be there for a while. At least until Colt McCoy gets back, potentially. What do you see, Charlie?
Okay. All right, let's go. Let's roll through these 3 interceptions. And you're right, he did play well in the first 2 games. And except for the turnovers, he played well last night. But you have to go to the turnovers. All right, the first one, it's inaccuracy. He's got a guy open here on the bottom of the screen. Yes, Dix makes an instinctive move, but if you hit the receiver, it's going to be a tackle by Dix, not a touchdown by Dix. Inaccurate pass, quarterback's the problem. All right, now here. Hard to tell here what happened. The ball is short, but he's pressured. He can't step up. He gets pressure from the inside and the outside. I don't think he'd get everything on the football. It comes up short, okay, and you get the interception there. Now, this last one, he's trying to throw a seam into 3 people. Now, that's okay, but it's a very small margin of error here. So basically, he forces the ball, and he's inaccurate on top of that. So 2 very bad interceptions on his part. 1 could have been protection on that part there, but still, 2 bad interceptions there. I think these things here. Number 1, I think the Redskins still think they can win. That's why they're going to go with their quarterbacks, the veteran quarterbacks. That was their mindset coming in the year. I think they drafted Haskins because he was the future. Now, 2 things. Haskins was the most improved quarterback in preseason National Football League. By Game 4, he was playing pretty good now. His movement has always been better than I thought scouts thought. I never saw it as a problem in college. I didn't see it as a problem in preseason when I watched him. I think what you have here is this. I think if McCoy isn't ready Sunday and Keenum throws a bunch of interceptions, you might see Dwayne Haskins on a short-term basis. They got the Patriots the week after that. I think Haskins won't play until they're out of it, or there is an uprising in Washington that says he has to play, and then the team decides to play him. But I did see great improvement from Game 1 to Game 4.
Mike, let's go back to when you and I were in Richmond for inside training camp, and I asked Jay Gruden the question. Jay, you had said a couple of months ago when joking about your brother John and Hard Knocks, hey, we'll do it next year, and somebody said, well, Jay, if you make the playoffs, you don't do Hard Knocks next year, and Jay answered by saying, if I don't make the playoffs, I'm not here next year anyway. Well, I mean, does he think Colt McCoy's going to keep his job and they're going to make the playoffs?
I know he likes Colt McCoy a lot, but look, his job, his future, might be tied to Dwayne Haskins. I mean, we're going to see him at some point this year. I don't know that we're all sitting here thinking that the Redskins are going to be in the playoff hunt or make the playoffs all the way through the end of the regular season. So there's going to be a Dwayne Haskins moment at some point. And if he can show, I can work with this young man, then that might save his job. Because go back to the draft. We talked about it. There were a lot of supporters in that building, particularly on the coaching end, for Daniel Jones, which, by the way, those people looking a little bit better these days than they did maybe back in April. But that front office ownership, they loved Dwayne Haskins. So those are the guys that put a lot into Haskins, and they want to see their returns. And if they can, maybe that would save Jay Gruden. But right now, Gruden, like you said, still thinks he can win some games with this roster as currently constructed.
Which obviously is what you are trying to do. So we're not going to get Dwayne Haskins, Daniel Jones this week. The Redskins and Giants play again.